get this thing started. Everything we do, we have to do a roll call. So everybody's done this a couple of times. All right, it's 9 o'clock. I'm calling the meeting to order. I need to read the thing from the governor. Executive Order number 16. In accordance with Governor Lee Executive Order number 16 regarding limited gatherings to prevent the further spread of COVID-19 and allow public meetings to be held electronically in Marshall County. Communities have chosen to meet electronically and limited public access to this meeting, determining it's necessary to protect the public health, safety, and welfare in the light of COVID-19. We need to do a roll call vote to accept this. Mr. Porch.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Seth. He's NA today. Mr. Byers.
Yes.
And Mr. Davis, yes. All right. Does everybody have the minutes from our last meeting? I think Mr. Quavis sent them out earlier this morning.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. If everybody's had a little bit to look over them, can I get a motion to accept the minutes from last meeting?
I'll make that motion. Jeff Porch.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Tony Byers will second the motion.
All right. Tony second. All right. Any discussion? Anything need to be changed? Anything that may be added? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Well, Jeff Porch, roll call.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Benson?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Seth is NA, and David, yes. All right. All right. Update on our health department. Rick, you on?
I am.
All right, Rick. I'm going to give you a few minutes to kind of give us an update on our plans, and then we'll start asking a whole lot of questions.
Okay, sounds good. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the last time we left the project, we kind of put it on hold. We were about 95% complete. We have all of our drawings completed except for a review with Angie yesterday on some finalizing some casework, some doors and drawers locations. There were some minor conversation there. We did go over the finishes one more time with her. Last time they were in our meeting with Josh from the state, they went through and we had actual finishes in front of them, and they were all approved. We made a easy change to some flooring, I believe, yesterday or the day before. So all those changes have been incorporated into the drawings. Again, no significant changes to report on. We now have full civil, architectural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing drawings sitting and ready for stamping and submitting for permit. The specifications are the piece that is probably 95% there, because we need some front-end information about bidding and opening of bids and that sort of information to complete those. But our firm is essentially on standby, that when this project is given the green light, we'd like a week, maybe a little bit more, depending on when that falls into, just to go through the set one last time and make sure there's, that we've got everything cleaned up with dates, and issue that along with the specifications out to contractors for pricing and bidding.
Okay. All right. Let the questions begin.
It's Jeff Porch. How long do you think it's going to be before we'll be ready to send it out to bid? I'm ready to start.
Yeah, if I'm looking at the calendar right now, hold on one second, let me open this up a little bit more. I would say we could easily be ready by the 15th to bid, and there's a little bit of editing to the specs once we decide some dates, and there's a little bit of time to put it in the format where it can go out to bid. So if we were ready on the 15th, I think the 18th would be a perfect date if we feel the environment's ready for bidding.
I personally think the environment's right. You know, some of the stuff is down a little bit, lumber's down a little bit. You know, it's in my opinion, this is, you know, it's probably a good time to get it bidded and try to get going on it. And, you know, as long as Angie and everything's in order for them, I mean, you know, I'd make a motion to go ahead and get you started on that. Try to figure out a meeting, or if we need a meeting to formally put it out to bid.
Yes, I think what we need is we need to just come up with some dates, because again, it has to go in that specifications when it's advertised. It says they'll have the drawings on, the drawings will be available at this date, and then we'll give them this much time to put their bids together, and then we'll need a little bit of time to open the bids and review them and try to make a selection. But I would think that process,
Next meeting.
because we're going to run into Memorial Day, of course, I don't think anyone's traveling a whole lot of places, but I would think you want to give yourself about 3 weeks for that activity. What we found is we've had a couple projects recently that are smaller that we've received no bids on, which is interesting. They're not glamorous projects, but there were a couple state projects recently in the Knoxville area where they put it out for bid, and they literally have no one submit for the bid, because those had to go back into the state to revamp and rework the front end again. But then we've had other folks that have seen, especially in the past week or so, we've seen more activity with bidding. I think folks are now figuring out how to do, you know, some of the work remote or semi-remote, and that's been helpful. If we'd have tried this a month ago, I think we'd have been in big trouble. Just there are too many holes in there where people just can't provide information, that we'd have incomplete bidding, and that's never good.
Right. This is Tony. I've got two questions. One, how are you planning to advertise the bids? And number two, how long do you think that you need to have it for people to respond? Is that 3 weeks? Is that 30 days for them to get with all their subs and stuff and get? That's a great question, Tony. I would think that the first thing is it's going to be electronic. It's going to be in a plan room. So we'll have it set up that they can download the drawings from a number of different plan room locations, and so they'll get the notification go out per the state that this project is out there, and they can find the drawings in this location. I would typically give a project 3 weeks for this, and I actually think we can hold that. One of the things I don't like is 2 weeks is too short, because by the time someone has a question about something, the information comes back pretty late, and then they lose interest. 3 weeks with some of the distancing that's going on, is things about right. If I go 4 weeks, I find no one does anything for the first 2 weeks, because it feels like it's a month away, and then they end up scrambling anyhow. So 3 weeks seems to be the right amount of time for folks to get their head around this thing and stay interested. So I would suggest 3 weeks. I think that's going to give us a really reasonable, give our contractors a reasonable timeline to get their numbers together. The nice thing about this project is we've had some conversations with a few contractors that provide some of the products, so they know it's coming. It's not, certainly not their project, but we've talked about the metal panel. We tried to talk to the prefab metal building folks, to let them know that there's something coming, and they seem interested, which I think is good. The rest of the stuff is really pretty common stuff. Pretty generic stuff, yeah.
Yeah, metal studs. I don't think there's going to be any long lead anything that's going to hurt anyone for putting together a bid. So I think 3 weeks is a perfect time. That's my personal recommendation, but it can be accelerated or lengthened if you guys feel.
How are you planning to advertise it?
I have to go through the state. There's a front end provided by the state in the spec that outlines exactly how it where it's sent to and and who all can see it. So I could probably answer that better after I get that front end piece together. That's kind of the administrative procedural piece of the drawing. So everything that we're kind of completed with is how a contractor would build the project. The front end of the spec is the prescriptive part of, okay, you need to submit your bid here on this date. It needs to, you open the drawings up from here, you receive the drawings this date. So I could probably, I'll send you guys that front end so you can see it and get it sort of verified. That's the timeline. But there's a pretty strict process for that. And it even talks about if there are questions during the bidding process, how the bidders are supposed to submit questions, and then how we as the architectural firm or design firm are supposed to respond to everyone, in a certain time frame. So it's kind of a process that's been defined.
So what you're saying is the state controls that, not us.
Yeah, and I gotta verify that. I know the state has front end information to it because we did the one in Hayward County, and it had some front end information that we've been using as our basis for this. I'm going to open that up and take a peek at it. Honestly, it's been probably 3 weeks since I looked at that front end thing because we're kind of waiting for this email or this meeting to happen so we could kind of re-engage that. Why don't I do that and send Mike a heads up and let him know what the impact will be for both the state and the county for that work.
Okay.
Sorry, did Angie or are you on? She's probably busy today. Okay. All right. Do we need to try to set up a meeting to look at the plans and see what else we need to do? Guys, y'all want to go ahead and set up a date? Like what, 20th or take a couple of weeks from today? Rick, would that be good enough?
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do. We had sent the drawings electronically. Unless you're a contractor, they're a little tough to understand back and forth. Some of the stuff that's in there. I mean, the information is there, but I think if you want to sit down and do we call it a page turn and go through the documents, we could certainly do that before we send it out. So if we want to do that in a week's time or so, that would be perfect. We want to make sure any comments before it hits the streets. So we should probably schedule a time to do that.
Okay, guys.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to do that unless you got a face-to-face meeting to.
Well, let me ask a question. I know we're talking about technology. So in our firm, we've done this several times, and we've been doing it. I'll set up a go-to meeting and invite everyone. If you have a computer, I can share my screen and I can go page by page through the document with you, or I can jump around. It doesn't make a difference. I'm trying to, I don't know where Mike, if you're on this call, I don't know why. I've checked the tracking number and it says it's floating around somewhere in Marshall County. I'm not sure why in the world it hasn't been delivered, but as of 6:41 on the 4th or 5th, it was still driving around. I'm not sure why they haven't figured out. They didn't give me I don't have an address on this report, but I'm going to chase that down and figure out exactly where that is right after we got this call. So there will be a half-size set in Mike's office that if you guys want to stop in and take a peek at it, you'll have something you can, kind of like a library book, you can check out and take a look at and thumb through. But the online has worked really well. Like I said, the only bad thing about the online is you can only kind of do one page at a time. So it's hard to, you can't see, it's tough to flip super quick, but I could walk you through plans, walk you through the elevations, the sections, all the stuff that's important. Then we get into, some of the mechanical big picture equipment on there. And
I don't think we changed anything from last time, did we?
we really have not. I was going to say we have not moved anything in the plans at all. We've just developed what's been going on. We have detailed out. Just to give everyone an idea, I mean, we have everything connected now with or coordinated now with our civil folks. Our mechanical systems are completely finished. Our electrical drawings are completely finished. There's a piece of this that we're trying to get a little bit of insight on, which is going to be security measures for, do we want keypad access? That's for the front doors and the side doors. Like, do we want to have it where it's keypad or is it just keyed? That's a pretty easy question that may have been resolved yesterday with Angie. I'm not exactly sure how that meeting went. I was on, got to be on 2 meetings yesterday at the same time, so I dropped off one. Stacy led that, but it's just, I mean, we're at really small issues.
Yeah, if I remember right, I think the only thing that was really in question was where the dumpster was going to sit or something, and color scheme. I think was basically the only thing we was talking about.
And that's done. That's been changed and put on the civil drawings. And then we had a little concern about the grading on the back of the building. We want to make sure there was enough of a level situation back there that if you ever had to get a ladder up there to clean the gutter or do something that you weren't on the slope, that was put in place. And I was telling Mike, there's a portion of this where I know the project has been delayed, and I know we've gone through a lot of hoops, especially with COVID. There is some rationale to potentially doing some early site construction work on the project if it would help to show some activity. There's really small pieces that can be broken out, like construction fencing and stuff like that. If you need to show that the project has started, it doesn't say you have to be putting up steel, but it shows you've got someone mobilized. So that's something if there's a reason to show activity on the site prior to releasing the whole project, there is something you do where you don't lose any money, you don't lose any time, but it puts you just sort of in progress, which is sometimes important to show.
Yeah, if silt fence or something like that, just with the state grant, that way we can show we're started.
That's exactly right. That's exactly where I would go with it. We've done this several times, and sometimes it doesn't feel like a great kickoff, but it is, and it does start the wheels in motion that you've got activity and you're engaged in the project.
Gonna step in there. Rick, is there anything from CDC we need anymore? Anything from them?
Nothing. I tell you what, I've gone through their drawings. They've done a great job of putting that all together. They really went the extra mile to coordinate everything with the architectural drawings. We got those, sidewalks located and equipment pads, and everything you can think of. They were just great at working with things. They said, hey, you're going to have this piece of equipment on the ground. We'll make sure we put a pad there. We'll keep it out of view of windows. And it was a very conscientious effort with those guys. And like I said, the set I sent down and the set that we emailed has all of our drawings all combined. My personal feeling is we want this week to clean up some of these really small things, but I'm going to do a page turn personally on my conference table, and I'm going to read through every line of the set to see that we've got everything tied together. And the only reason I say that, there's Angie. Angie, the reason you can't talk is because you have to do that *982222. She just emailed me.
All right.
I've got. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah. You have to do that. You have to do the magic buttons, otherwise you can't hear you.
I tried that on 4 phones. For some reason, it would not work on the other phones.
I did it too. I had to call in twice. I don't know what that was, but yeah, I'm glad you said something.
Okay.
Did we work in the camera system?
We have.
On the go-to meeting or camera systems for the building?
For the building. I know we discussed the last meeting
We did.
We did not
Okay.
talk, Stacy and I did not talk about that.
Yeah, we have camera systems based on our conversations. Remember the first time we had it with Angie and Josh was down, and we talked about what we want to see. We kind of talked about seeing the front and seeing the long corridor, and if the last measure was, do we need to put one on the sort of from the nurse station to the drug room? I just had our person put a junction box there. This, if they want to wire something there, a device, it'll be ready for wiring.
Great.
Yeah, it's not super expensive, and again, that's kind of the piece. And the other part to it, since you're on the phone, it might be easier to talk about, is for access to the building, the specifications for the door. We need to, I think we wanted to put a keypad anywhere or a couple locations, or are you going to do it all with just regular keys? What would you prefer? A regular keypad at the front door and maybe the two side doors is pretty reasonable, just to set those locks. If you want to get really sophisticated, have where you can unlock the door, it's remote for someone, it's another series, and maybe we have to have that call offline, but it's something we want to make sure we're addressing in the door schedule, which is probably the last little piece of information in question.
We would really like to have the keypads. We added the keypads to our current building, and not on the front door systems. We're still using lock and key because those doors are kind of those old glass kind of hinge doors, so you couldn't really modify those. But the back doors for employee entry is perfect with the keypads, and just kind of the modified door from Lowe's that you just added a keypad to the door handle.
So we'll put a keypad at either the side entries. I think that's important. And then the other question I have is, when the community room is being used, that will be physically locked and unlocked for use, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We don't need no one's going to have a keypad access to that. And then I think that'll take care of what we need. That's a pretty simple add to the door hardware schedule. That was good. We killed that one. That was awesome.
Yep, that's perfect.
Okay, very good.
All right, I guess we need to plan our next meeting so we can do plans and anything else that pops up. You want to do a week, the 13th, or 2 weeks, the 20th, guys?
No. Oh, yeah, sorry, you guys. Yeah, let me know what you think.
Well, what I was thinking is just make sure that we got time to give him time to have everything ready where we can say, yeah, let's send it out to bid and move forward. So if the 20th is better for him, then that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, our drawings will be ready by the 15th. I mean, that's just our thought process. I need a little bit of time to do the specs for this thing and go through the pages one more time. We actually have two of us doing that to sort of a quality control on it. Just to make sure, sometimes you get too close to it, you need someone else to see something. So that's kind of our plan. So if you want to set it up for that 20th, that could be a review, and we can in the meantime, let me do some due diligence on this bidding document, and I'll send Mike a summary he can distribute to everyone in the interim, so you can understand kind of who the players are and what the timelines are that have been established or that we can modify.
All right, we'll set the 20th at 9 o'clock in the morning again. Guys, y'all all right with that?
Sheldon, we've got a budget committee meeting at 8:30 on the 20th.
Okay.
We either need to do it, later in the day or a different day.
All right, let's try 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. on the 20th.
That's fine with me.
That'd be fine with me.
Yeah, it's good with me also.
That work.
Rick, you good? Angie, you good?
Yeah.
I have a standing meeting every Wednesday at 2. But I don't have to be on it. We can communicate from now till then.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
That would be fine.
All right, we'll get Lynn to put this out so everybody knows that we're doing it on the 20th, 2 p.m. All right.
Or what you could do, instead of adjourning, we could, just, I forget what you call it.
Recess.
And then, recess the meeting till the 20th. That way you don't have to re-advertise it.
Okay, we can do that. We can do that. All right.
You
Anybody?
making that motion, Tony? You don't have to make a motion, I don't guess.
No. Any more questions? Let's see. CDC. Then, if you're done with them, Mike, do we need any updates for them or?
They have finished everything, and their contract has expired with us. They are willing to do other things. And Rick, we talked one time. You said we would probably need somebody to come back and was it a grading thing? You said we would need somebody to oversee or help us out on.
Yeah, your contract, and I'm not privy to that contract exactly, but it sounds like your contract was through Permit Documents. I would highly recommend that you look at a limited engagement for construction administration with them to come out and verify some of the things that are on the drawings are being constructed the right way. And the biggest one that I ever see is it's usually making sure that underground utilities are being put in the right way and they're getting the grading right. You've all been in these parking lots where the curb's 9 foot tall on one, or 9 inches tall on one end and 3 inches on the other. And that's because someone's taken the drawings and they didn't grade it properly. And so there's still a top of curb elevation that they hold. And then they're making it work all the way down to where someone maybe graded it incorrectly. And then you end up these oddball shapes. So I like at least to have through grading to get it right. Make sure we got positive drainage off the thing. We've got everything, all the geometry's right. I think it's just critical. And I think that those guys would be willing to give you some sort of modified contract that says we'll come out, 3 times during the first whatever it is at certain milestones. But I would highly recommend that. It chases a lot of ghosts away early on that you won't fight with later on. So I think it's my recommendation.
Okay, so Mike, if you don't mind, let's get hold to CDC and see if they'll help us out with that. Guys, y'all want CDC to help us do this?
Yes, sir.
That's fine.
Now, the only thing I'd say is let's wait and see how much that will cost us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Get a proposal.
All right. We'll let's get a motion in to do that, to get them in and do a price.
Vincent makes a motion to get the CEC to give us a quote or a price on observing the construction
All right.
or overlooking the construction.
Do I have a second?
Jeff Ford, second.
All right. You need to change anything or add anything? All right.
Shelley, can I ask Rick, will that come after we get the drawings back approved, or do we need to start that process now?
We could start the process of talking to them about getting a proposal for that work now. They wouldn't execute that they wouldn't do any work on that contract until after we were bid and started actual mobilizing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Mr. Porch,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Seth and a Tony
Yes.
and Sheldon. Yes. All right. The motion was made and passed to get CDC started on getting us a quote. All right. Anything else for Health Department? All right. Well, I'm going to move on to updates from maintenance. I talked to Brendan this morning for a few minutes. He says the jail AC is 99% done. He says they're still waiting on some thermostat problems to be worked out, but they can only get in there due to the coronavirus thing. So they're limited right now. they're working on sewer line somewhere here in town and having to finish that up. That's why he's not on today. And the roof on the Robin Hood Road Fairgrounds, I think we're still waiting on all the bids to come in. I think he found a couple more people to bid on it, so we're waiting on that. And that's all I have. If anybody's got anything else, be more than happy to chime in.
Nope.
No, sir.
Nope.
I will tell you that Brandon and his folks, we've made some changes to the different buildings because of COVID. Plexiglass has been installed in the registrar's office, register deeds office, trustee, and the county clerk. He's waiting to get plexiglass in to do other buildings over in the courthouse and other places. And so that's kind of our phase one start to getting all those safeguards in place to get us back up and running. There is some discussions among different departments of how to manage traffic better in and out. And of course, this building's not the best designed place in the world to do that such, but those are kind of the next step after we get back going. So just wanted to inform you of that those are some things that we are doing. Of course, we have to go through budget for reimbursement, but there is some money that under the governor that's sent down, and part of the category is COVID. So we're not going to go crazy on all that money, but some of the expenses that we're incurring here, there is a funding source if we want to use that to get that money back. So just kind of updating you there, things that Brandon and his folks have been doing. He and his guys have been able to do a lot. And they did a really good job on Daphne's office, Doris Wayne's office, and Scotty's. Did a really good job. So I'm very pleased with what they've been able to do.
All right.
Sounds good.
Anybody else got anything?
Nope.
All right. If not, we will recess until May the 20th at 2 p.m.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Y'all stay healthy, stay safe. And
Y'all too. All right. Thanks, everyone.
thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, I hit it. I'm sorry.
Huh?
Is that right?
Yeah, hit him. And then off, it hit Ian right there. There you go.